Hello, this is Alex Graziani. I'm here out on the town in Monroeville with Deputy Director of Public Works, Jamie Story. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Great. Glad to have you today. We're here at the corner of Sweet Leaf and
Garden City Drive.
Excellent. And the reason we're here is to talk a little bit about this year's paving program and paving in general here in Monroeville. Last month we talked with Public Works Director Paul Hugas about the paving program, and now we just wanted to show you how it works in the different areas, in the different applications or tools that we pull out of our toolbox to maintain the 110 miles of road here. So Jamie, what are we looking at today at this intersection? What do we want the viewers to understand?
All right, so this intersection is, like we said, Garden City Drive and Sweet Leaf Drive. So this is a good indication of a road that was paved last year. So this would be a candidate this year for fog sealing. So this road is actually in really good shape. You shouldn't see any cracks or defects on it. But when you look, you can actually see the tar that was sprayed on the gutter lines and the center line. That's the color that the road was last year. It was a dark black. You can already see the roads becoming kind of light gray. So what that indicates to us is that there's already ultraviolet degradation of the road. So it's actually starting to bake the road. And honestly, the road consists of rocks that are glued together with tar. As the road ages and UV degradation hits the road and the freeze-thaw cycles and everything else, it basically bakes the life out of that tar. And the road becomes more brittle. As it becomes more brittle, it cracks. As it cracks, it lets moisture in and the whole process kind of amplifies. So this is our first stab at preserving the road. So we have a road that's in excellent shape, no defects on it, but UV degradation is already starting. So we will apply a fog seal to this road, which is just a thin layer of asphalt emulsion, which is tar mixed with water. We'll spray that onto the road. It takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on how hot it is and humidity, dew point, that sort of thing, for it to cure, and it'll look brand new. Once we're done, it'll look like a freshly paved road. But the goal again is to seal the road so that the moisture can't get into it and start damaging the road, to imbue some more ultraviolet protection against the ultraviolet rays of the sun, and ultimately make it less permeable. The side benefit is it looks brand new, so for the residents, you get another year of your road looking brand new and upping your property values. But there's another thing we can look at here is each year when we pave a road, we look at holistically. So I call it a neighborhood upgrade or a neighborhood refresh. So before we pave the road, we'll trim the trees, we'll look at the storm sewers, inspect and clean all the storm sewers, repair the storm sewers. We'll replace all the signage, so if there's any faded signage on the road, rusty poles, anything else that makes the neighborhood look less than optimal, we'll replace those. Get you new shiny signs, and at the end we put down new pavement markings. So by the time the milling paving operation is done, everything that we have our fingers in is completely redone.
When I drive through Monroeville, I see right away the quality of the signage, and it's a testament to your crew kind of being diligent and keeping them up. So where are we heading to next?
Yeah, so our next stop we're going to look at a fog seal that was performed last year.
So at this stop, Jamie, we're looking at an example of a road that was paved in 2022.
Correct.
And in 2023, it had the fog seal treatment on
Correct.
it.
So that would be the next step. We just looked at Sweet Leaf that's about to receive its first fog seal. This one actually already received its first fog seal. So we're at the intersection of Sunnyfield Drive and Pine Frost Drive in Garden City. And really the only thing to look at on this road is if you were to recall from the last street, it looked already kind of oxidized and faded. It was kind of a lightish gray. This road, despite being 1 year older, is noticeably darker. And in some sections it's a little bit clearer to tell than other sections, but you can see that the surface of the asphalt is enriched with that extra tar. So when we mix asphalt and place it, the entire thickness of the asphalt has the same amount of tar in it. In this case, though, once the asphalt has been placed, UV degradation occurs to the top. The mechanical abrasion from the vehicle tires is at the top. The rainwater hits the top. The freeze-thaw starts at the top. So logically, that fog seal puts a little bit of extra tar at the surface where it's needed the most to combat all those sources of degradation. So again, this is just an example of a road that was received its first preventive maintenance treatment, which was a fog seal.
Okay, Jamie, where are we at now and what are we looking at?
So we're standing at the intersection of Firethorn Drive and Bayberry Drive in the Garden City plan. And what we want to look at here is roads that were maintained by crack sealing. So these roads actually were paved in 2003, so that's 21 years ago. We generally expect that the asphalt, like an overlay itself, will last like 15.77 years on average. And at that point, it would either be, depending on condition, it would have been milled and overlaid, or it would have received a seal coat. In this case, we've just kept crack sealing these roads. The cracks develop whether you want them to or not, just because as the asphalt ages, some of the ingredients of the tar volatilize out, so it loses its volume. Because it loses its volume, it shrinks. So you'll get shrinkage cracking is the first thing that you see. And then once the water can get into the shrinkage cracks, it'll spawn secondary cracks and the pavement deteriorates from there. But as long as you can keep up on the crack sealing, it extends the life of the road. So in actuality, for roads like this, crack sealing is 97% more cost effective than milling and paving.
So two things. One, you started in December 2002.
Correct.
So the next summer this got paved.
Correct.
And it's holding up well. And then you also mentioned the PACER system, which is a scale of 1 to 10 to rate roads, 10 being newly built pavement, or just had been milled and overlaid and it's brand new and ready to go. And then 7 sounds like a pretty good number. What number for you and your team do you say, hey, we got to mill and overlay, we can't do the seal coat, it's time?
Mill and overlay is generally reserved for a PACER rating of 4 or less. Actually, once you get down to like a PACER rating of like 1 or 2, you're probably looking at more in-depth reconstruction or a full depth reclamation.
So here we are at a new location, Jamie. Where are we at and what are we looking at here?
We're right up the road from the previous one at the intersection of Pine Frost Drive and Firethorn Drive. And what we're looking at is Pine Frost Drive, which is on our list this year to receive a seal coat with a flush coat on top. So things to talk about here, I guess, is as we look down the road, you can see the remnants of the prior fog seal. This road was paved in 2014, so it's 10 years old. You can see the prior fog seal, some remnants of that here and there, where you can see kind of darker spots, almost look like water flowed over the road. That was the asphalt emulsion. You can also see the remnants of past crack sealing that we've done on this road. So as we've talked about before, the first treatment that these roads get is the fog seal, and then they're maintained with routine crack filling until they get to the point where that's not really effective to do anymore. And that's where we're at with this road. So if you look closely at this road, even in this particular location, you can see not only we had cracks, but we have secondary cracks and tertiary cracks. So this is what we would call multiple cracking here. So we just have a whole mess of cracks essentially. So to have a crew try to crack seal this would take forever and it wouldn't be very effective. And then we'd leave spots that had quite a bit of crack sealing on them, which could become slippery when it rains, or the plows could strip it off in the winter time. So it's just not worth it from like a labor or road maintenance perspective to crack seal these. So we've kind of lost that window. This road has progressed through, it's aged through that window of crack sealing. So we will seal coat this road, which will fill in all of these small cracks. It'll fill them in with polymerized asphalt, which is a special asphalt that has latex and some other ingredients in it that makes it very flexible. That'll seal all the cracks, and then we'll have an application of aggregate, which will again give us a uniform surface and give us some traction back. And then we cover over top of that with a flush coat, which is just a different term for a fog seal. So a fog seal is applied on a new asphalt, hot mix asphalt pavement, and a flush coat is applied over a seal coat. And honestly, probably the benefit people like most is it just makes it aesthetically pleasing. It looks like a hot mix road, which most of our residents, that's the way they want to see their road.
Okay, Jamie, so another location. Though we've been in Garden City this entire time this morning looking at various elements, the program we're describing isn't just for the Garden City section of Monroeville. Every road in Monroeville gets treated with these kinds of tools, if you will, out of the toolbox for pavement management, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we try to treat all of the roads in Monroeville, all of our pavement infrastructure. Everybody gets kind of a fair and equitable treatment of their roads, so one ward isn't. Ideally, if we're doing it right, one ward shouldn't have better roads than another, or one person's neighborhood shouldn't be better than another. But I did pick the roads that we looked at today just because of proximity. They're all pretty close together. We could cover a wide range of methods all in a relatively
as well as
small
safety.
space.
We haven't had to fight and dodge traffic and be like Frogger.
Right.
We've been able just to do this and really educate everyone on how this program works.
Right.
So what are we seeing here?
Okay, so we're on Holly Drive, also in the Garden City plan, and we're looking at a candidate. This road will get milled and paved this year. So a couple things to look at on this road. We had talked earlier about maintaining roads via crack sealing. This road, actually, the last time it was paved, I believe was 2007. We did not perform most of the preventive maintenance treatments back then that we do now. So when you look at this road, you won't see any remnants of fog sealing and you won't see any remnants of crack sealing. That's one of the reasons why I think this road hasn't lasted us as long as some of the other ones that we've looked at today. But this particular road, when we look at it, I'll show you a couple things. I don't know whether they're really visible on camera, but a newer crack is relatively tight. So this one you could probably barely discern on the camera. But as those cracks get larger and they age, they start to erode, so they become thicker and wider. So even this crack over here, you should be able to see this one on camera most likely. But as the water gets in there and freeze-thaw cycles happen, it starts to pop out additional aggregate on the side, so it'll make this crack wider and wider, which lets more water in and it erodes the quality of your ride on the road. So the degradation process actually speeds up. When the road's fairly new, it can last a fairly long time. But once the degradation really takes hold, that curve speeds up and the condition goes down really fast. So that's part of our approach to pavement management. And then down the hill here, another thing that we'll start seeing, this is called raveling here. As the tar or the binder in the mix starts to age and lose all of its resiliency, it'll lose its ability to hold onto the stone. So you kind of end up with the stones getting plucked out by weather and traffic. So this has a really rough appearance. That's called raveling. That's another sign of a pavement that's kind of at the end of its life. And raveling, as it progresses, turns into potholes. So in this case, you can actually see the wearing course, or so the top layer of asphalt has worn away, and we're looking at the binder course that's below. Even that, I can pluck the stones out of it. There's no life left in that tar. So really at this point, we've exhausted all of our window for preventive maintenance treatments, and this one's a candidate for mill and overlay.
So that last question then would be, once they start milling, like say for example Holly, when do you think they'll be done as far as there's no more activity of construction going on here?
Generally speaking, we'll mill the road. The next day, we'll put 2 layers of asphalt on. So the first one's called binder. We'll mill the road, and it'll probably be within a day or two. We'll put the first coat on, the binder coat, and then either the same day or the following day, we'll put what's called the wearing course, which is actually the part you drive on. So probably 2 days, 1 day for milling, 1 day for paving. It could be 3 days. We try to keep everything pretty tight though, so you're not living in a neighborhood that looks like a war zone for any longer than possible. Yeah,
there's a lot going on, and it's our biggest asset. At the 110 miles of road, if we had to build those brand new today, you think of $1 million a mile or more, it would cost a lot. This is our asset that the community owns, and of course, we're dedicating to taking care of it as best we can for the driving public, for their safety, and for our all mutual benefit. So thank you for all the hard work. Again, it's a year-round job, but soon, this summer, they'll be seeing all of these elements in full activity, mainly before school starts, but maybe even a little bit after school starts, where some of those things will get wrapped up for the 2024 paving program.
Yeah, and maybe something I should add, Alex and I are here talking, we're the faces of this discussion, but behind the scenes, I have a high-quality sign shop, takes care of all the signage and pavement markings. We have a road crew that goes through and takes care of a lot of the crack sealing and the tree trimming, milling and patching, small milling and patching that we do on some of these roads, and a storm sewer crew that comes through and cleans the storm sewers, inspects them, repairs them. So Alex and I are just the tip of the iceberg, I guess. There's a much bigger staff beneath us that are doing all the hard work and shoveling asphalt all summer in the heat. So
we have the easy job. We just get to talk about it, and they make us look good.
Yeah, we couldn't do any of this without those guys. So I try never to take credit for anything that they do, because again, they do all the hard work.
Thanks. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
good
Alex.
work.
Appreciate it.
Keep it up. Spending time out on the town with Mr. Story impressed upon me the amount of care, planning, and preparation that goes into our multifaceted pavement management program. Speaking of treated roads, the 4th of July parade participants had a nice, freshly paved Business 22 to traverse the traditional parade route. Highlights from the event are on the way next.